Does anybody have one of these things? Because this doesn't work. Today, I'm going to be talking about budgeting and how to budget when you're a spender like me. Welcome back to My Simple Intentional Life. I'm Janet, and if this is your first time, welcome. If you're back, thanks for supporting this channel. Today I thought I'd talk about budgeting when you're a spender. Our budget, or at least our household budget, is dependent only on my husband's income. My income and the money that I make from my part-time job really goes to cover more of the expenses that are extra expenses, like kids' activities or sinking funds. So today I'm going to do a mock budget of what our expenses are as a household, including my husband's income along with mine, to show you how to pretty much do a zero-based budget, which is how we budget in this house. So as a spender, you have to account for a small splurge every month. Otherwise, you're going to do it anyway and you're going to blow your budget. So what I like to do is to include a little bit of blow money for both my husband and I. If you're on a tight budget, this is going to take a little creative planning, but you have to plan because these things happen, and it's better to be prepared than to be taken by surprise and blow your entire budget. So I like to follow Dave Ramsey's recommendations for zero-based budgeting. What that means is you take all of your expenses and you subtract them from your whole family or household income. That means that income minus expenses equals zero. If you're lucky enough to have extra money at the end of your expenses, then I like to put that towards sinking funds. And sinking funds are just savings accounts that I use to save up for an expense that's going to be incurred later down the road, whether it's that later that year or maybe the next year. So for us, we do have extra money left over at the end of the month, so I will show you how we go about allocating those extra funds to sinking funds. Now, if you are in the other boat where you have more expenses than income, then you're going to have to be very creative about cutting back on budgeting items that aren't really a need. And needs versus wants, that could be in a whole different video, but for this purpose, if you have things like cell phones, cable packages, you have a very large, let's say dining out or grocery budget, these are things that can easily be cut back to kind of find yourself more in a balanced budget type of situation. So if you're working on a bare bones budget, Dave Ramsey recommends that you cover the four walls. These are food, transportation, clothing, and utilities or home mortgage. In this particular case, what Dave Ramsey means by clothing is not funding a new wardrobe with your very tight budget. It obviously means basic clothing to kind of keep you covered and appropriate either at work or at school. And this could even be done through thrift store shopping. My daughters love thrift store shopping and they do it for fun. They like to reimagine pieces and mix and match, and their clothing budget, because of this, can be really tailored down quite a bit. So when you're thinking about a budget, remember, you have income, you have expenses, and those two should equal zero. So I'm going to switch the camera angle now, and we're going to take a look at my mock budget for our family of 5. Okay guys, so here we have a budget written out. This is a zero-based budget, and it is based on a family income of $75.70 after taxes. Now this may seem really high for some people, but we are in the Northeast and the incomes here tend to be higher, but so are the cost of living. So when you look down and you see what the rent, mortgage, and taxes are, you'll realize why we're getting paid a little extra here. My husband is in pharmaceuticals and I am in medicine. Again, I work part-time 3 days a week. My husband works full-time and we have 3 kids. So here we go. So here you can see, let me see if I can get a better angle, less shadowing. Okay, so here we go. We have an income of $75.70, and our expenses on this column of expenses here, you can see total here, the $61.80 even, and that is for fixed and fluctuating expenses like groceries and pet care and things like that. Over here, you can see that I took what was the balance between these two numbers here, which is the $13.90, and I went ahead and I made sinking funds for that total. So we have gifts throughout the year, $100 a month. We have senior trip 1 and senior trip 2. This is for my daughter's senior trips that I have been saving for. I would say for the past 3 years. It wasn't this high all the time. I was saving about half on each of them initially, but now that they're getting closer to graduation, I have really upped that. The EF is emergency fund, and we're working on baby step 3, which is a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. I'm aiming for about 4 months right now, and if I can do more than that, it'd be great. And of course, a college fund for my oldest daughter, who is currently a junior in high school. Altogether, this equals $13.90, which conveniently is what's left over after our expenses, and that means that overall our budget is 0. Now, this does not include things like medical bills, or it doesn't include co-pays or doctor's visits or things like that, because we do have a healthy savings for those expenses through my husband's job. So anything that we pay for those types of expenses is reimbursed by his job and covered 100%. Okay, so if you look here, we'll go through the categories. Mortgage and expenses, $1,800. Mortgage and taxes, $1,850. Car payment, taxes, and gas for 2 vehicles, and only 1 car payment, is $680 a month. Groceries for our family of 5 is $650, and that's actually a little bit less than what I initially had set aside for that, which was $700 a month. Clothing, $100. For whoever needs something for that month. Insurance, and then utilities for the house is about $200 a month, which is, electric and gas and sewer and water. Phones and internet for our family is $200 a month. Windows, $230, is a payment that we have on replacement windows for our home that we put in last year. Daycare for my son. Pet care is $300. Dining out is $250. The reason this is high is because, like I said, I work 3 days a week. My husband works full time, and sometimes we just can't get my daughter to cooperate and cook for us, so we do have to wind up getting food out. School lunches is $75 for 3 kids, and this is just giving them about 10 lunches each per month. Cash and nails. This is for me. JK Cash and Nails is a little higher than MK's Cash, which is $200, and this is what I refer to as blow money. This is for the spender in me. I do have to get my nails done for work. It has to be, presentable when I'm face to face with patients. So I do include that with a little extra in my monthly cash, but the rest of it is to spend any way you'd like. And because we can do this, we're able to give ourselves, a significant amount of money per month to spend any way that we like. For the most part, I will have to say that a lot of times the money is spent on kids' food or treats, if we go out as a family and we need something, or if something comes up in the school, like right now we're dealing with junior prom, which is a $70 ticket. This money, unfortunately, is the first to go and cover those expenses if we need to. Commissions is essentially like an allowance for the kids that we do per month, and they have to do their chores, and my youngest daughter actually cooks for us on the days that I work, and she gets paid for that as well. Subscriptions refers to things like SiriusXM for our cars, Amazon Prime, and iTunes, which I do the iTunes radio, and altogether that is $60 per month to cover all the costs associated throughout the year. Kids activities is my daughter's classes that she takes outside of school. Donations are $350 a month, and this is non-tithing donations, which means that we're not a member of church, so we don't tithe in the typical sense, but we do. I do sponsor a child at World Vision International. We both support our colleges through the alumni associations. And as I mentioned in a previous video, one of my goals this year is to do random acts of kindness. And that is going to take some money so that we can prepare things and do these acts of kindness throughout the year. We can do that without any issues. So as you can see here, we have total income of $75.70, fixed and variable expenses of $61.80, sinking fund total of $13.90, and if you take that away from the $75.70, we have a zero-based budget. Now this typically works for us on a regular basis, but it isn't foolproof. So if you find that the first few months that you do something like this, you're really kind of missing the boat, or you haven't thought of everything that you need to put in here, then you keep tweaking it. And this is why Dave Ramsey recommends a monthly budget, brand new every month, so that you can really think about what's coming up in terms of holidays, birthdays, events, school functions, work events, dinners out, anything that you might not think about in the moment. And because they come up so infrequently, you're not necessarily putting it into your budget on a monthly basis. But in this way, you can pretty much kind of cover all your bases. So this is what we do for our family, and it works for us, but it may not work for everyone. So you guys have to come up with your own budget based on your own income and expenses. Some of you will have more kids, some of you will have less kids, some of you have no kids, some of you are single. So this is definitely a very personalized plan, but I just wanted to show you what we do so that you can get a sense of how we budget on a monthly basis. So as a spender, it's important to include some of the spending-minded purchases that you want to do throughout the month in your budget, so you're not blowing your budget every month. For me, what that entails, if it's not really covering things for the kids, is scrapbooking. I love to scrapbook, and in fact, I just came back from an event yesterday. Those events cost anywhere from $40 to about if you go for an entire weekend, it can be upwards of $200 to $300. This is the way I de-stress, and it's my hobby, and I've been doing it for well over a decade at this point. Other things that it might include is planner supplies. I love planning and stickers and planner supplies and all that crafty goodness. Other things it might be covering are things that I might use on this channel, for example, like this very useless external mic. I don't know what possessed me to get this. It was supposed to be a plug and play, and it doesn't work at all. So I'm obviously missing a very important piece of this. It had high ratings on Amazon, so now it's just sitting here doing nothing. And of course I came for my personal money, so I'll have to see if I can get that to work. Otherwise, you know, it's miscellaneous expenses. I'll pick up a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. I'll get some treats for the kids. If we're out, maybe some ice cream, or we'll kind of buffer our dining out category with some of that personal money as well. It might mean some extra clothing item that I might need. It, of course, for myself, it's the nails. So all of that comes from that money. On the other side of the spectrum is my husband, who is absolutely 100% a saver. So sometimes he never even uses his monthly money, but then again, he buffers our family budget with that. So it seems to work for us, and I know it won't work for everyone, but I will say that even though I might follow Dave Ramsey's plan rather loosely, and some of you might say I'm not following it at all, I did manage to get out of debt within 3 years' time. And we are living within our means, which is the most important part for financial security and financial freedom down the road. We both participate in our 401k plans at work, so that means that retirement savings is taken care of. And in fact, from my income alone, I'm saving 15% of my biweekly income into my 401k every single pay period. So I think that when you think about the future, it's never too late to get started. And if you're young and you're just getting started in life and you have your first real salaried position, then the time is now to start saving and putting yourself on a budget so that you can have a very nice future when you get to be my age. So thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.